Welcome to the App or Not to App podcast with the App Man, Jeremy Callahan, where we talk about why apps are not a luxury item and are essential to your business success. I've been in the mobile industry for over 20 years, and the question I always get is to app or not to app. Definitely, you must app. Mobile apps can help your business reduce costs, increase leads, and reduce manpower. An app is not a luxury item, it's a necessity. So let's get started making you money. Well, welcome to the App or Not to App podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Callahan, where I talk about why apps are essential to your business success. And I love to give you tips, strategies, and introduce you to people who have achieved success. And this week, I'm bringing you Jennifer Allwood. Jennifer is the creator of a website called The Magic Brush. She teaches creative people, makers, do-it-yourselfers, painters, how to grow their business online and create multiple sources of income, something we all want. Amen. She's a business coach. She's a mom. She's a wife. She runs multiple businesses. She makes multiple business streams. And, I was looking for interesting guests for the show, and my marketing team told me I had to meet Jennifer, so I did what everybody does. I go on the internet and I watch some of her videos. And I was watching your video, Jennifer, about the Facebook algorithm change.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just love, one of the things that really stood out is that, she's insightful. She gives you good advice, but then she gives you this dose of tough love. But it's so positive and relatable that it's just like one of your friends telling you what you need to do.
Oh, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Thank you. I try.
So welcome to the show today, Jennifer. How are you?
Thank you. I am so honored to be here. This is fun. I love what you're doing, and I'm super honored that you asked. So thank you so much.
Cool. So why don't you give the listeners of the podcast an idea of what your business is all about?
Sure. So I used to own a decorative painting company here in Kansas City, Missouri, where I live. I started that back in the year 2000. And in the last 4 years, kind of came to the realization that there were only so many houses that me and my team could paint in at any given time. And if I really wanted to make substantial money, I needed to somehow figure out how to shift my painting business to the online space, which at the time just felt like, okay, I'm trying to shove a square peg into a round hole. But it turned out that I decided, okay, let me start selling painting videos online and see if anybody will buy this, on how to paint furniture in your own house or paint your own kitchen cabinets. I mean, basically Joanna Gaines and HGTV kind of paved the way for that to be really successful for me. Thank goodness. And so that went to a six-figure business online in just over a year. And my social media platform kept really growing. And I just was getting so many requests from different women wondering how I was growing my business online so quickly.
Yeah.
And asking me if I would consider mentoring or coaching them, which had never really been on my radar. And about 2.5 years ago, I decided I would start a coaching group where I teach other creatives, so makers, DIYers, painters, how they can shift their business onto the online space and how they can grow their platform. I have a love affair with Facebook. That's my main social media that I try to really take really good care of and have a fantastic following there. And so yeah, at this point, I'm coaching over 2,000 business owners every month on how to grow their business and how to use the online space to do that. So I love what I'm doing.
That's fabulous. And, I know I'll get into some of the social media stuff a little later on, but, how often, when you talk about social media and the stuff you do, how often are you posting? And do you have I think you have regular shows and stuff that you do?
Yeah. So it depends on which social media. Facebook is the one I think everyone should always be on. It's the giant. It's the one, just in terms of sheer numbers, every business needs to be on Facebook, because that's where the people are at. And so in terms of what Facebook wants, it wants you to be super consistent, showing up every day, day after day, so that it will be putting you in the algorithm, and they would like you to be posting 4 times a day. They would also love it if you're posting at least 2 Facebook Live videos every week. And so in my training groups, I'm teaching those things. Make sure you're posting 4 times a day. Make sure you're going live twice a week. And when you can make Facebook happy, Facebook will then put you in the feed. It will show everybody your business. And that's how you get massive engagement and a massive online following.
Well, that's great advice, especially for me, because I'm just kind of new here, and I do a weekly Facebook Live. So, and
if you can do 2, it's a game changer.
Yeah, I guess I got to do 2, and then I auto post a video a day as well. So I'm not high enough in the in
In
the
the algorithms yet? Yeah.
cool. Cool. So like, what's your background? How'd you get into this and everything?
So my background is literally in the painting industry. I bought my first home when I was 21. I was young. Most 21-year-olds are not, scraping to get the change out of their car so they can make their mortgage. I was,
Yeah.
but I wanted to own a home. My home is really important to me. I love to be in a space that makes me feel a certain way, makes my family feel a certain way. I'm a homebody. I'm an introvert by nature. So home's important to me. So bought my first home when I was 21 and loved it, but was like, gosh, I want to change everything. Even at 21, I wanted all the walls to look different and the floors to be stained different. And, I had a champagne taste on a Budweiser budget. And so I had to figure out how to I couldn't hire anybody. I could barely make the mortgage. So I had to figure out how to do things in my house to make it pretty on my own. And that in retrospect was such a gift because it forced me to learn how to DIY the heck out of everything.
Yeah.
So that was at 21 when I bought my first home, but closer to age 30, I found some people that were offering like a painting school in the Kansas City area where you could go and you could learn how to texture walls and how to make columns look like stone and how to make things look like marble. And it was stuff that I was already doing in my own home, but I didn't realize this was like an actual job that other people did for a living.
Yeah.
And I have a degree in computers and went to a little weekend painting course, came home with 10 or 12 sample boards, told my husband I wanted to ditch my painting or my business job. I was doing software development and I wanted to ditch the computer job and own a painting company. And thank God for really, encouraging, receptive spouses. And he was like, babe, go for it. And so I started that when I was 30 and we have not looked back ever since. So my love is twofold. I still love painting, decorating, creating, but I also really love the encouragement and the teaching for other people who are in my industry.
Yeah. And I wanted to ask you about that because when do you think in your life that you really started noticing that you liked helping people?
I think if I look back, I always have.
Yeah.
And so I think there's always been that sense that I love being just a cheerleader for other women. Mm-hmm. And I do have a few men that I coach, but the majority of my audience is female. And I love encouraging them because, one, I am a girl. So, there's that. But
girl power, go for it.
I just find that so many of us women, we're stuck in our own heads and we're this close to having a business or being successful at business or whatever. And sometimes it just takes the encouragement of someone who's been there and done that to kind of link arms with them and say, girlfriend, this way I can help you. This is not as hard as you think it is. You can do this. And so I feel like I'm really in my element when I'm doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you do this, you were telling me about or the listeners about, your background and how you started painting stuff and what do you say? A champagne budget on a,
I had a champagne taste on a Budweiser budget.
Yeah, I like that. So how do you go from, that point, like when you actually post your first video online, or you like, how do you get to that point? Do you see other people doing it and that kind of inspires you and like?
Well, I think that I was very attuned to the fact that number one, I like social media. Number two, that's where the whole wide world is hanging out. Number three, it's essentially marketing. And
Were you on social media before you started posting videos and stuff?
Oh yeah, I've had my Facebook page for 9 or 10 years.
So you were like posting family, just like.
Well, the first couple of years I was just, posting, here's a piece of furniture we just painted. And, a couple of days would go by and here's a kitchen we just redid for a client. And a couple of days would go by and this is my daughter doing something funny standing on her head, isn't that?
Right.
And then I kind of noticed, oh, wow. Okay. Like I got 100 new likes today. People are really like sharing my content. They're actually kind of liking what I put out there. And I actually kind of like putting stuff out there. And so then I started taking it serious and actually trying to post a little more. And then I started taking some online courses on, how to grow your social media. And I was like, okay, if I'm on Facebook playing anyway,
right,
why don't I just shift my thinking just a little bit and actually use this time to build a business instead of just stare at people's babies and cats.
Right.
And, which is what the kind of the vortex that I was stuck in a lot of times. And so when I really started, it was almost 5 years ago that I was like, I am going to commit to showing up every day on my Facebook page and to serving the heck out of my audience. I just made a complete shift one day. I'm not going to play around on social media anymore. I'm going to actually use social media to grow the heck out of my business. And that means every day showing up up and posting things that either encourages, entertains, gives people tips, tricks, shortcuts, life hacks, whatever. But I want my Facebook page to be a place where it's very encouraging and people feel like they can, find great ideas for their home is what it originally started out, painting ideas and decorating ideas. And then now that's morphed into, I'm still doing the painting and the decorating ideas, but I'm also giving them real strategy on how to grow a creative business of their own online.
Cool. So let's get into that. Because I know you love coaching and helping the people.
Perfect.
So what's kind of one of the most common problems you see with people, and like where do you get started with people?
Well, when people usually come into my space in terms of they're wanting some coaching, normally they are already online. They already have a Facebook page. They already maybe have an Instagram account or a Pinterest account. And they're just kind of stuck in that they really don't know how to grow it. They're posting every day, but they're kind of hearing crickets. I just actually
That's what's happening to me, by the way.
Yeah, I recorded a podcast this morning called "Why You're Not Getting Any Engagement on Your Facebook Page." So you'll have to make sure you listen to that.
I'm 100%.
And I mean, it's a good 30-40 minute podcast, but there's a lot of meat in it. And so I have some real concrete reasons why people aren't talking back, why you're hearing crickets, and then how to rectify that both. And so normally when people come into my space, that's kind of where they're at. They want to grow their business. They don't really know what the next step is. How do they turn people who maybe are seeing their content into people who are raving fans and who will buy from them? Is the other part of the puzzle that they struggle with. So one, it's how do they build their audience, and two, how do they build their checkbook? How do they get people to buy?
Right.
So those are the two things I focus on.
Right. And basically, what do you say? Like 90% of the people have that exact problem, maybe more?
I would say that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool.
I would say that. And, and the other half of my audience is people who are painting and decorating in their home. And the majority of those questions are about paint colors. How do I figure out what color to put on my walls? What would you paint this piece of furniture? That's what I kind of got known for, was my ability to help people pick out colors in their homes. Yeah. So that's the other half of the questions for the people who don't have a business, but who follow me. They're trying to figure out what they could do in their home. Like, what should I change this wall to? If I painted my cabinets white, do you think it would look okay with my granite? That sort of thing. So, so I get a lot of those questions as well.
Now you can help me pick out a rug. I'm in the process.
There you go.
That's cool. So I think it's a really interesting space because there are so many like do-it-yourself or creative types. You go to farmers markets, you see a lot of things. So actually teaching someone how to run a business is very nice.
Thank you.
Helpful. Any point in your career when you started out, as you're going along, did you ever feel like giving up in the hard times?
Oh gosh, tons of times. Absolutely. There was a time about 2.5 years ago when I had some huge income swings from month to month. So I'd had one month where I had made almost $30,000 online that month, and the next month made $1,200. And those sorts of swings made me want to just chuck in the towel, because I couldn't figure out how to get some consistency in my business, some stability in my business, which I needed just so our family could determine our budget and what we can afford to do. And I mean, those high highs and then those low lows were causing a ton of anxiety for me. And that is when I decided to put a monthly membership group into place that would just bring in recurring revenue every month. And I started that about 2.5 years ago. And started with 5 people in my monthly group, and then 50 people, and then 100, then 500. And right now I have well over 1,800 people who are in my monthly group who pay me to be there. This isn't a free group. I don't do free groups, and I don't. Right. But that is just, it's a very nice, consistent way of bringing in income in the online space every month. But there was plenty of days when I was frustrated and feeling like it's too hard, it's too big, nobody understands. And absolutely, there's a ton of times when I've wanted to just throw it all in and go back to work at a desk job or the local Quick Trip or something. Just seems
what seems like guaranteed income.
Exactly.
Right? Wow. So that's inspiring to like keep going, right? Because like I've been there as well. It's like there's a lot of times where I would program an app and I would be programming and I would have to get it done by Friday, and I would make no progress, like say today. And so I was suddenly behind. It was like, I just want to get out of here.
Yes. No, I get it.
So when you do a program, like you said, you have 1,800 users, or people in your group.
Mhm.
What is that coaching like? Is it just kind of like you get a topic, or is there a starting point, an ending point, or?
Yeah, we've got a library of trainings for them. So a library that it contains trainings on Facebook and how to start a Facebook page, how to do Facebook Lives, how to do Facebook really well. We've got a training on Pinterest and how to use Pinterest for website growth. We've got a training on how to start a website. So there's all of that in a library. And then once a week from me, they're getting other content based on what I see in market changes. The new Facebook algorithm, for instance.
Right.
Also bringing in other experts. This month we have somebody who's going to come in and talk to our businesses about legal things.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got somebody coming in to talk about money stories in the next couple of weeks. And so I'm trying always to bring in other guests who are smart in areas where I'm not, just to add value to the business owners. So they get something every week from me in the group.
So that's cool. Yeah. And you have a lot of social followers. What's it, like 500,000 social followers?
Yep, we're at 500,000. The majority of them are on Facebook. I've got about 310,000 followers on Facebook. So, but yeah, we've got.
So what's the best advice for growing that? Is it just consistency over time, or is it something else?
It's showing up with consistency over time. It's serving the heck out of your audience. A lot of times you're getting crickets and hearing no response back from them because you're posting the wrong things and you're not leaning into what your audience is actually wanting from you. So there's that. It's also making sure that I've done Facebook ads, but they're very targeted Facebook ads.
Okay.
And so, I'm looking for people who are in similar industries as me. I'm not targeting people that, are, the thing with Facebook ads is it's, you can waste a ton of money if you're not really targeted in who you're looking for. So I think there's, a whole strategy with consistency and Facebook ads and just a mindset of how can I serve my audience best.
And on the ads you run, is that boosting posts, or is that just ads?
It's like ads.
Like ads? Get people to like the page, and then,
exactly.
So they see your content more often.
Exactly. So I'm bringing them in, and then we'll turn them into hopefully, raving customers from there.
Into one of the streams, right?
Yes, exactly.
So how do you come up with all the social content? Do you struggle with it, or like how do ideas just come in and you go, or what?
I've been blogging for 10 years. Mm-hmm. So I have a ton of content already, on the internet that I can pull from. So there's days where I'm posting, a picture from my home 2 years ago or paint colors from 4 years ago and just bringing stuff back up. Because you have to remember that I have 310,000 Facebook followers today, but 2 years ago it was half that. So, there's all these new people. They didn't see any of the stuff I did before that. So I do have somebody that works for me who makes memes and, other graphics and things we can put on. I'm posting constantly to my podcast and just for people to listen to episodes. So I don't really run out of content. I feel like I'm kind of a content machine. and I think the majority of the people get stuck, Jeremy, they're almost too close to what it is that they do. So they assume that all the people following them on social media already know how to do X, Y, Z.
Right.
And I'll give you an example. So a lot of my audience follows me, for painting and decorating. And so I will tell the women in my coaching group who are also painters, the next time you're in Home Depot and you're picking out sanding blocks, what the difference in sanding blocks is, but your audience maybe doesn't. So do a short video or do a picture of this is the difference between the square sanding block and the other, or this is my favorite type of roller. Like most of us are just so stinking close to what it is that we do that we can't step back and realize that we know so much about whatever it is that we're skilled at. And we share literally just a smidgen of it because we assume that everybody else knows what we know, and they don't. And so making things really easy and trying to kind of step back from your business. You have so much more content. Most people have so much more content than what they think they do. So I feel like I've done a good job of just really bringing that down to a basic level. And so that means I feel like I have a lot of content opportunities.
That's great. That's really important. And the people out there listening should really catch on to that. It's interesting because I always see ideas in everyone else's business. Like I could say, oh, you should make a video about all these things. But when I look at myself, I'm like, well, I'm just a computer programmer. What am I going to show you? Me programming a computer?
Yeah.
So I'm very good at seeing things for you, but not at myself. So, and I think that's where a person like yourself is very helpful because you've been out there and you've been doing it for so long. You know how to give people ideas and to spark their ideas in a certain way. Let's talk about multiple streams of business or
Okay.
multiple streams of income. So I know that's something you talk about a lot as well. Do you think it's important that people find links between their business? Like you link the painting to helping other people in the creative industry. Have you ever tried to do stuff outside that just didn't work, or do you kind of stay within that realm?
I try to kind of stay in my lane.
Yeah.
And really try hard to stick with what I know. I had somebody tell me once, or I heard it somewhere, that the riches are in the niches. And so many business owners try to go way too broad, and they think that by going broader, they'll cast a larger net to pull more people in, and that actually the opposite is true. So that if you will stay more specific to what it is that you know, and specifically to the industry that you're in, that you'll actually gather more like-minded people. And so I know for me, when I look at who really my industry is and who really I cater to and who really do I know, it's going to be female creatives. And so they're women that are painters and DIYers and makers and Etsy shop owners and what have you. And so I've tried to really continue to make all of my marketing campaigns and everything directed towards them. Now, with that being said, I have several men that are in my coaching group. One of them making 6 figures a month. I mean, doing amazing. And I have tons of other industries now who are in my coaching group. I have people in the real estate industry and people that, I have somebody that does she makes dog food. And so I have lots of other people that I'm coaching, but I always try to just keep the majority of my focus on what it is that I know, which is creative women.
Cool. And that's great. And so let's talk about some technical questions, because this is the App or Not the App podcast. So we'll get a couple technical questions for you there at the end. What percentage of your traffic right now is mobile? Do you know what that is?
I believe that it's 80-some%.
So wow, I was going to say it was probably at least 70. So you're over 80%. Huh?
I believe that I'm over 80%.
And that's to your website, or is that just to everything?
I believe that it's on my Facebook page. I believe my website traffic that's mobile. I think we just looked at this the other day in Google Analytics. I think it was 67%.
Wow.
Of my web traffic is mobile.
Yeah, that's what I always say to people. I said, a lot of people say, well, do I need a mobile app? And the answer isn't always yes or no. But the first question I always ask is, well, how much traffic are you getting currently that's mobile? Or you send an email and people are coming back to it from a mobile phone. So there's a solution. What are some of the technical challenges you have? Do you still have technical challenges now, or do you have it going pretty good?
In terms of just being online, or
like your website, do you have problems like managing users on your website?
We don't. One of the technical issues we have right now is getting my emails opened, which is a kind of an industry issue. Just across the board, people are having problems with email providers seeing their emails as spam, or we have a problem with getting our emails to hit our Gmail subscribers in particular. So that's an issue for us right now, that we're constantly trying to figure out how we can increase our open rate, how we can decrease our bounce rate, how we can, make people basically just, how do we get people to open up our emails when we send them? And
cool.
So
that's a common problem.
Yeah.
In fact, somebody keeps sending me an email that they keep landing in my junk email. So now I have to go through my junk email and look for one person's email. It's actually an email I need. Yeah. Do you have any apps that you use now, any DIY apps, or just apps in general that you truly love?
You know what? Well, I use all the regular social media apps, of course. There's an app that I have started using just recently. We are in the process of buying a new home, and as a painter, one of the things that goes first is I'm painting everything, every inch of the house. And so there's a couple of apps that I've been trying to use to try to figure out how different colors would look in the home that I purchased. I have not really found one that is fitting what I need. For instance, I would love to take a picture of the kitchen cabinets and then just in the app be able to turn the current kitchen cabinet color to white or gray or blue or purple or whatever.
Yeah.
To see how that's going to look. And to my knowledge, there is not an app that does that yet. There are several apps where you can actually roll paint on the wall within the app, but that's not what I want to do. Or you can try to, kind of paint over the current kitchen cabinet color, but it looks like a child used a crayon on the app, so that would be an app that I would love to see available.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be neat. That's cool. I was thinking about you because I was looking at apps, and I saw this app. It's called Craftsy. It's like Craft STY or something. Do you know this app? But I was like, this would be perfect for Jennifer to do something like this because it's, because you have a community of people, you have a lot of content on your own, but maybe you could bring in other people's content as well and just have like DIY projects, somehow build a community, maybe other people. They're probably already doing this all by Facebook now for you, but like bringing it kind of under your own umbrella so that, if something happens with Facebook or people can't communicate, you still have this thing. And, it was just an idea I had.
I actually love the idea. I had an issue about 3 years ago where my Facebook page disappeared for 3 days and just gone. No explanation, and then was back 3 days later. But during that 3 days, what it taught me was to never put all of my eggs in my social media basket.
Yeah.
Put them all in Facebook's basket, and to make sure I diversify where I'm touching people at, so that if any one section was to go down, I still have all these other places where I can, I still have my email list, I still have Instagram, I still have Pinterest. But it's a fascinating concept that you just said, like have an app platform where I could also communicate with them. I love that.
Yeah, because I was talking to someone else who has a ton of followers, and I was like, I follow you and I want to meet other people that are in the same thing, but I don't necessarily I'm like, can I look through profiles of all the people that follow you? Because there might be people in there I actually want to communicate with.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, for you, it might be, or, like say I was making necklaces and I was looking for other people that specifically do, I don't know, so it was more of a community thing I was wanting to think about.
I love that idea. I totally love that idea.
I think the teaching people how to do it and the videos get people in, but the community is where I actually saw the value.
So. Yeah. So I love that.
So I'm going to wrap up today. Thanks for being on the podcast. Where can people find you?
Yeah, awesome. So they can find me if they are on Facebook, which most people are. Go and look for Jennifer Allwood. My page is verified, so it'll say Jennifer Allwood with a little blue check mark behind it. I'm also on Instagram. I love hanging out on Pinterest. And I do have my own podcast, which I think I mentioned, which is called really uniquely The Jennifer Allwood Show.
Nice. How often do you podcast? Once a week?
Once a week. Every Wednesday we come out with a new iTunes episode. So yeah, we've been at it over a year, and so cool. Super excited about it.
Well, great. Well, I appreciate you being on the show today. Fabulous having you and getting to know you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jeremy, for being here. I really appreciate it as well. And I love what you're doing and just giving ideas to other business owners. Thank you for thinking outside the box for those of us who maybe don't see that vision. So you got a fun thing going. I appreciate being here.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you.